Stephen A. Smith, he went and he apologized on a social media video. Then he put out a statement. He did say he was talking about the marketing and the promotion of the sport, even though what he said at first, that was not about marketing. That was about just watching the games or going to the ballpark, which is where I 100% disagree with what Stephen A. Smith said. However, if he's talking about the marketing and the promotion, I do agree, and this is not just about Shohei Ohtani because he's Japanese in America. I would say this about any other country.
Yep.
If you're an athlete, if you're an American athlete that speaks English and you're going abroad, let's say you're playing soccer in Germany or Spain or whatever, if you don't speak that native language, it is tougher to market and promote you. And that's just a fact. And saying that shouldn't be that controversial. But what he said at first was, and I'll just say this from a media standpoint, for example. It doesn't matter if that person, if the person doesn't speak English, whether it's Korean, Japanese, whether you're talking hockey, if it's Swedish, if it's Russian, if it's somebody speaking Spanish, if you're doing your post-game interviews, it's just harder, especially from a television standpoint. And I'm just telling you from what we do, for example, at Fox 2 and what TV stations do. If you write an article, it's easier to say, for example, that KK said this through his translator, and then you read that. Putting that on TV or radio, it is more difficult because the sequence is reporter asks question, okay, translator says it to the athlete, athlete says it back to the translator, translator then says it in English, and also, if you're running that sound on television, you're not really even showing the athlete. I mean, you could do a shot of both of them, but you're actually showing the sound from the translator.
It devalues everything.
All I'm saying is it's not what I just said. That's not racist, in my opinion. That's not xenophobic.
Of course not.
That's the way the mechanics of media is done. So while I 100% disagree with what Stephen A. Smith said about Ohtani not bringing people to the TV in the ballpark, that's just flat out wrong.
Yep.
However, it's more difficult to run sound bites and sound on TV and radio when it's an interpreter.
100%, man, and I think everybody gets that. But he didn't present it that way, and that was kind of bizarre. But he might have messed up on that. I don't know, but it is difficult. So those are two different social media avenues that you can't. You can't really take advantage of as much, right? Like, what if he was that he's Bryce Harper personality? Like, it's so easy. He says things all the time. You could do this. It's just harder to market it. But if people, as far as people watching it, they're going to come watch you, no doubt about it. Maybe for his brand, it might be more difficult, but yeah, like you want him to try to speak as well as he can, but God, it's got to be tough. I had to go over to Britain and learn that in 2 weeks. That was tough.
Man,
really tough.
Totally different.
It was
totally different language over there.
Yeah, it was really tough. But no, I get what you're saying, man. But
here, this is what I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to spin it so it doesn't. I want to. I'm not defending what he said in any way. And right now, he's an absolute pariah. And he should be for the first part of that 100%. That's just wrong. Because Shohei Ohtani is the best thing that's ever happened to baseball. He's a freaking unicorn.
Yeah,
he literally is Babe Ruth-esque. I mean, look at the dude. He's hitting freaking bombs 500 feet, and then he's striking dudes out. I cannot wait to watch this man do his craft tonight. But again, it would be the same if an American ball player went to Japan or Korea. If he doesn't speak the language, if an American soccer player went to Germany or Italy or Spain and they didn't speak the language, you probably can't promote and market them the same way in commercials and being the spokesperson for the team.
Here's a difference. People in Sweden, you go over there, like, they all speak English too. Like, there's not many Swedes that that can't speak English well. I mean, look at Berge and all those guys, man. They all speak extremely well. But they know English over there for the most part. Like, it helps to go over there. You can still kind of get by, but over here, it's tough. You gotta know it to really help yourself and show your personality. Because even when you do go through an interpreter too, like, you're not even trying to be funny because you can't relay your humor through them or your anything. So you're just a robot, and the only thing you learn is this was good. I'm feel good. And he's like, da, 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 da. And they so you can't even get, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. But he goes and brings it. He brings it on the field. So let's see here. VIP Pat chimes in and goes, Charlie, your voice is 2 notes higher today. Did you take a Midol?
Well, it's improving. It's improving. Yesterday was rough. And John Hadley, he kind of came in and said, hey, I'll do the second hour.
Yeah,
and then he was
nice.
asking me today. He said, do you want me to come in second hour? And I said, let me see how it goes.
Dude,
and
you
I'm
sound
saying,
good
hey,
now.
let's do this. And he responded back in text. He said, Jack bleeping Youngblood. I'm playing hurt, okay? I'm playing with a broken leg.
Oh, get it. Like Kucherov. You hear what Kucherov had, you hear that, Jimmy? He had, so when that Mayfield stuck him with that cross check, remember that? Where
Yeah, that
Mayfield
broken ribs. Yeah.
Oh, so he had like a displaced rib, and he had to put that it's like a bulletproof vest on there where you have to, it just like sticks to you, and it's just heavy and gross, but you have to protect it. And then he had to get those oh God, what are they? Those shots that they stick right in there before every game, like, oh God. And then every time you have the puck, like, even if they don't hit you on that side, that particular side, somebody's bumping into the other side, and it still affects it. That guy's no wonder he's partying like a rock star.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, one more thing on the whole Ohtani, but also interpreter type situation. Yeah. I remember going back, 10 years or so with Carlos Martinez. When Carlos Martinez first came up, and he was trying to speak English, and sometimes he does his post games in Spanish with an interpreter, and more recently he'll do them in English. And I remember I was at one of the All-Star games he was at, so I can't remember which year it was, but he was still doing his interviews in Spanish, but he was improving, obviously. And I remember going up to him at the All-Star game, and he was given his sound in Spanish with the interpreter, and I said, is there any way you can just maybe do one question in English? I'll make it real easy on you. And he said yes, and it was great. And he gave just a nice 20-second response that was, very easily communicated on TV. And I was very grateful that he did that, and I told him that. And so that's the whole thing. It's just, and look, you're obviously getting it. You're working with these guys and gals. If they come over, I can barely speak English, right? The fact that these guys and gals can speak in 2 or 3 languages is amazing to me. Like, think about it.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Even if some of these baseball players that they grow up with Spanish, they can speak great English. I can't speak a lick of Spanish. No. I took, I think, 4 or 3 years of Spanish in high school. I took 2 years in college. I don't know anything. You know what I'm saying? Look at David Perron.
I know cuss words.
David Perron can go back and forth between English and French seamlessly. Oh. I've seen him do this in the dressing room, where he will go back and forth, answer a question in perfect English, next question perfect French, and goes right back. That's amazing to me. So it's not easy for these athletes to learn a second language. I hope everybody knows that too. But yes, you are more promotable and more marketable in that country you're playing in. Doesn't matter if it's United States of America or anywhere else in the world, if you can speak that native language.
Webster Groves Wiggler chimes in. By the way, you're 100% right, David. That's like the coolest thing in the world. You're able to speak just I have no idea. I mean, there's, again, the cuss words sticking. I know a couple cuss words in Russian, to be honest with you. But these guys that come over and figure it out. Good example with the Perron. But it was tough when he was a little bit younger. Like, he had a thick accent when he was young. Now he's just boom. Anyway.
And by the way, the baseball players do the same thing. If it's a big event, if it's All-Star game, if it's playoffs, if it's World Series, the guys that speak Spanish, they do the exact same thing. They answer a bunch of questions in English. They go right to Spanish. They go back to English. It's super impressive.
So Webster chimes in and goes, Cam, do you watch a home run derby? If you played baseball and performed in a home run derby, it would be exactly how Alonso did last night, jamming out, shaking his head, failing the music as you hit the dingers. Yeah, dude, I saw the highlights of it. I'm not going to lie to you. I saw the highlights of it, and he was like, I like that, dude. It's kind of like when they play music in basketball sometimes or whatever, and you do your thing. That guy was just jamming out like, I got this, and you just sticking them. That was cool, man. I like that. Yeah.
So I like the new style of the home run derby. I like that it's timed like that. The one part of it that I don't think we truly appreciate is because these dudes are so quickly trying to finish the first swing and hit another dinger, is we don't get to appreciate enough if the ball goes 520 feet, right? Because you can't really follow the path of the ball because sometimes you have to split screen it and you're going right back to the next swing. But if you hit a freaking monster 520 feet, I mean, it's going to take a good how many seconds for that ball to actually land. But I do think the Home Run Derby overall has really improved since they went to this format.
Yeah, I get you on that. What does a rub-off mean?
That's our guy, Tank.
Yeah, no doubt it is. That was a good one. He knows exactly what that means. Who's he kidding? Okay, we're going to go. We got Charlie up next. I'm hanging out. Jimmy Heuer's hanging out. We're going to get into baseball. Tonight, I'm going to watch that tonight, by the way. A big All-Star game tonight. Big All-Star game.
You better. It's on Fox 2, baby.
It is what it is. Well, of course I am.
You better watch that whole game because here's why. At the beginning, you have Shohei Ohtani pitching. Yep. You have Shohei Ohtani hitting. You got to think they're going to give him at least 2, if not 3 at-bats, knowing he's the show. Yeah, and he is leading off, tonight. Correct? So he can probably take 3 at-bats. And then you never know. Look, Arenado's going to start. What if the National League has a lead and Alex Reyes closes it out? So that means you got Lance Lynn, by the way, who's been an All-Star before but never pitched in the All-Star game. So you know he actually wants to make an appearance. So you got to watch the whole way through, okay?
Yeah, okay. All right.
All 4 hours. Jimmy Heuer, how you doing? Did you watch the Derby? What'd you think of Stephen A. Smith's Shohei Ohtani comments?
Well, you guys just talked about Stephen A. So just a thought on Stephen A. I think, I'm not a big fan. I just think he just spews stuff out of his mouth and you just go, all right, shut up. In terms of whether Shohei Ohtani could speak English well or not, it doesn't matter because we're not there to listen to Shohei Ohtani talk. We're there to watch him hit balls and watch him to hit far. I mean, that's the event. Him hitting home runs. That's what it's about. It's him tonight. Watching him pitch and throw. I don't care if he talks. I don't need to hear him say, I hit the ball far. It was like batting practice, or the curveball was working well. I don't care. I don't need that. I just want to watch him do his craft. That's what the event is. So now, if it's, for a sportscast or like when we're doing a report on the radio, I probably can't use a Shohei Ohtani cut. It's realist. I mean, if I play something that's poor audio quality, for instance, let's just say it's staticky. Well, our listeners can't. It's not fair to them, and it's the same with somebody who speaks broken English. If they can't make out what's being said, you don't play it. That's the nuts and bolts of audio. But for Stephen A. Smith, I think, like I said, I'm not a fan of his. I watched a little bit of it last night, didn't watch all of it. Interesting to see Alonso win it again. We were talking about Shohei, but Alonso won the darn thing. He's become the monster of that event.
Well, that's the thing. Not only did he win it, he dominated it from beginning to end. And yesterday before the game, I was thinking about the fact that with the Home Run Derby, a lot of these times, the dude that has the great moments doesn't necessarily win. Yeah. Remember Yankee Stadium, Josh Hamilton? He just put on this display, just destroying balls, off the freaking back of the walls at the Yankee Stadium there. And he didn't win. I think it was Justin Morneau. But the first couple rounds, Josh Hamilton put on this. Remember they were playing the Natural?
Yeah.
He had just come back from all of his substance abuse issues. It was an amazing story. That's all we remember, except I think it was Justin Morneau who won that event because in the end, he just didn't have enough gas left in the tank. Go back a couple years. I was at the All-Star game in Cleveland, and it was that year that it was 19. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. just put on a show, and he was what everybody talked about, except Pete Alonso actually won it because at the end, it doesn't matter. It's not cumulative if you just got to win that final round. And Alonso hits 35 in his first round. Even somebody like Salvador Perez, who hits 28, that's a lot of home runs. Yeah. And you can't even advance. And then Alonso just goes through it, runs through it, his head's bopping, not a care in the world, and just destroys the competition. It was really amazing to see, especially at the end. What, he hit 6 in a row? Just hit like 6 straight and walked it off.
Mm-hmm. He's become a monster of the event. He owns it now. It's cool to see. Now the Mets fans will love it. He's a New York icon. He really is.
It's funny, too, because this is a guy who hasn't been paid yet, relatively speaking. I'll look up his salary. I think it's somewhere around $600K-ish.
That's about right.
So he's now won $1 million 2 different times from winning the Home Run Derby, which is probably darn close or more than what he's made in Major League Baseball the last 2-3 years.
That's
Are
crazy.
you supposed to send that to charity, or is that they're just taking that?
Well, I think the first year he did it, he did have some charities. He was, and I'm sure he'll still donate some of it to charity. But again, coming off COVID, let's see. I'm looking up his salary right now. He's been in the bigs. So 19 was his first year when he wins Rookie of the Year and hits 53 bombs in a full season, 161 games. So last year, COVID. He hit 16 homers in 57 games, only batted .231. And then this year, in 77 games, he has 17 homers, 49 RBIs, batting .250, slugging .478. So he's having a good season, but it's not necessarily an amazing year. And 2019, he made $555,000. So he's probably right around there, getting a raise to maybe close to $600K.
So it's like, you'll donate to charity eventually, but you kind of need that money because what if I don't know. You never know what's going to happen. You could be on top of the world and you get hurt, man. Actually, there's a really quick text real quick. Josh Hamilton's pitcher was almost 80 years old. Someone that helped him with his problems, but they couldn't throw good pitches by the end.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Remember when Robinson Cano won and his dad pitched to him? That was really cool. Bryce Harper's dad going out there looking like a WWE wrestler pitched to him. I remember one year, and I got to Google this. I can't remember, but I felt so bad for both the player and the pitcher. One of those guys just got the yips, and he could not throw a strike. It was in the it was probably 2019 or 2018.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
This dude could not find the strike zone. And then when you look at so Pete Alonso's pitcher last night was also an older gentleman. I'm looking this up right now. But they showed basically like a heat map of the strike zone, and this dude last night. Okay, so he's 64 years old, Dave Joss. He actually
dad
looks.
is a sports writer, by the way.
Oh, really?
His dad was a sports writer in Ohio somewhere.
Interesting.
Yes, or Chicago.
And I have to say, he looks older than 64. I thought he was older than that, but still, they showed the strike zone like you see after a bad pitch.
Right.
And this dude wasn't just throwing strikes; he was throwing it in, as someone said aptly on Twitter, a shoebox. It was right in the middle. Belt high and up, and every single ball was right in there, and something like 90% of them were home runs of the ones that he threw in there. There was all red for the homers, a couple blues that Alonso probably only hit to the warning track, but he was just dotting them right there in the perfect spot. I mean, then you can't hit 6 straight bombs unless you're getting your pitch like that.
Oh, no doubt.
But why would you have? I know that's like the respect issue where you're somebody that pitches to you, but if you're young, you need to have the right guy in there.
But he was the right guy.
This was the guy. You're right.
I know, but the other guys like kind of bringing their dad or someone that helped them. It's like, God, I don't know.
Come on, Dad, get it in here.
But they're
he's hitting you in the back and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm trying to think. Wasn't it an A's player? I know Olsen did pretty well. It was. I'm trying to do this on the fly.
Chapman?
I think it was Chapman's dad. I'm going to look this up. I think it was Chapman's dad that could not find the strike zone.
Might have been right.
And just did not give him a chance. But no, the whole batting practice thing, that is an art because you got pitchers who are nasty, and you got pitchers. The reason they're nasty is even when they naturally throw a ball and they're not trying to, that ball moves. I remember going back even in college, there were dudes that you didn't want to play catch with because their ball had that natural two seam or it had a natural cut to it. They're not even trying to do it, but those guys that can throw or gals a natural, beautiful 4-seam, nice little 3/4 arm slot, and just groove it if you like it belt high, middle in. I mean, a lot of guys also you're also doing that in front of 50,000 people and how many million people watching. Some of those pitchers also get the yips in that situation.
Has that happened like a Rick Ankiel kind of thing where you're just completely missing? They have no chance in hell and it's a complete waste of time. Has that ever happened?
Okay, so I think it was Matt Chapman's dad.
Yeah, okay.
So that was 2019. That was the last time we had a home run derby. I remember just him not finding the strike zone. And you just feel so terrible, not just for Matt, but for him going out there.
Yeah,
He just feels awful.
Way to go, Dad.
Very good.
Let us down.
Thanks a lot, Dad.